There's an infinite number of universes out there. In many of them, there is a podcast by us. In one of them, it's good. Please enjoy.
Hello and welcome to the Krillin Chat podcast with Zeb. Again, this week, we're just going to go over the same stuff. So as you can see here, we have a...
Hey.
Oh, hey.
Hey, what are you doing in here?
Nothing.
It's like, it's a...
How are you? How are you?
Hang on, wait.
I thought you were...
No.
Were you eating pies?
Actually, though, what the fuck? It's a Sunday. What are you doing in here? I just came in here to pick up some stuff that I left in the studio.
Oh, I'm just, what's that over there?
I thought...
What? Oh, it's the intro music.
Hello and welcome to the Real But Yeah podcast. I'm Eamon.
And I'm Zeb.
This is going to be a normal episode this time for once. We haven't been here in a while. I did actually just come into the studio to clean up some things. I didn't think we were recording today. Apparently Zeb's been doing some weird Krillin shit about Dragon Ball Z and, I don't know, just some nerd statistics and stuff like that.
It's good stuff.
Yeah, it's all in the trash. Good. I made him throw it all in the trash now, so don't worry about that. It's
not in the trash. It's on Twitter if you would like to see the full spreadsheet that I have made it more ergonomic and readable by people. Mine actually has my personal one has a lot more detail in it, but I made it readable. If you want to know how many Krillins there are in your average human, go to our Twitter and check out last week's episode.
Yeah. No, don't do that, actually. Don't go and read Zeb's bullshit. If you do want to read something, though, you'll probably like what today is, which is Book Lovers Day. Just driving that segue right through the brick wall there. We did that perfectly.
What's an Excel sheet but just a really good book?
No.
Just a more efficient book. It's all tabulated and organized.
Yeah. Can you imagine, though, a book that's a choose your own adventure that you read from a spreadsheet where you go down to move forwards and you go right?
Ooh, like a roguelike video game, essentially.
My roguelike Excel spreadsheet.
Like it's a maze. Ooh, that sounds makeable.
That sounds awful. That sounds awful. It's 9th of August every year. Every year on 9th of August, it's Book Lovers Day. A lot of people like books, apparently. Let me just read a little bit of this spiel, because it'll really get you in the mood for some books. From the scent of a rare first edition book found in an old-time book collection to a crisp, fresh book at the local supermarket. Questionable. I've never bought a book at my supermarket.
They do sell them. They're like little... They tend to be those little romance, trash books. And it's just Sexy Cowboy Man, How He Lassoed My Heart. And then, Pirate Captain, how he... What are pirates doing? What's the...
Lassoed My Heart.
Yeah.
The very sight of a book can bring back memories. Reading as a child, enjoying the short stories, the long books, and the ability to lose yourself in a story so powerful that at the end, you're asking yourself where to get the next book in the series. Where do I get another book? Where can I go to find it?
If only there were more books.
If only there was somewhere to get a book. This is for the reader in all of us, the celebration of Book Lovers Day. The books are pretty good, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, whoever thought, hey... What if someone who wrote a sentence went, what if we do a lot of these and then tie it up in a pile?
Bro. What if, the story you're telling me could be in, a rectangle and I could hold it in my hands and then we could, share them and, we could just, take them around the world, stories, but they're in, they're like a physical thing.
Nah, kill this heretic. Q, 1,000 years later, someone reinvents it. How come books are rectangles? That's my question. Yeah, it is a convenient shape, I guess. I mean, the circle wouldn't really make sense, but why not a triangle?
Why would that make sense?
Triangle. I mean, you can still open it at the spine fairly effectively, and I mean, if anything, it sort of would you wouldn't, with a rectangle, you don't know where to grab to turn the page. You could turn the page anywhere along that edge, but with a triangle, there's only one point, that's the turning point, that's where you turn it from. Each page has to like skewer down towards that little pointy bit.
It'd be great for like dramatic effect as like the words start to run out, and then like the last word is like,
ooh, like some page the pages could vary in page shape, and that could represent like like another tool for like tension and like feeling like the character. And he walked down the hallway and it squiggled off into a little bit.
Alternatively, we just get regular books, and we finally start applying some knowledge that we've learned recently in the last few years, which we just start doing bezel-less books, where the words go all the way to the edge.
What?
Like the latest smartphone trend is we all want to have that screen that takes up the entire face of the phone. We don't want any black edges. So books, we get rid of those borders, more words on every page, all the way to the edge.
Like to the absolute edge, like the pixel. The last pixel is on like the very edge of the paper.
Yeah,
that would be a printing disaster.
Why is that?
Because like at the moment they have a bit of give. Like the printing can be a bit different, and like they don't have to worry about like losing books. But with this, I guarantee about 10 to 20% of books would just be like misended sentences and stuff like that. But I mean, we are in a better age. Like maybe it'll be, instead of ink, be more like they have a square and they shoot down the. Never mind. Like it's in my head, I can explain that better, but I can't do it with auditory information.
No, I think what we do is we make the books big, like the regular size, and we just slice off the edges,
just shrink them down,
like we do with smartphones.
Ah. Yeah, just like with... But that's still, like, it is a machine doing it, so it still could have the chance of, like... Have you ever, like, quartered some paper and tried to chop it up after you've written the notes? It always ruins something in there. Something in that stack of folded up paper.
Do you want some history on this day, though?
Nah.
Okay. Well, you tell me an interesting fact.
All right. So I'll tell you a little bit about the history of this day. So while the day's origins may be shrouded in mystery and rumour, the books themselves are not.
This is all from the top of your head, isn't it?
Yeah, starting from the carving on stone tablets, the book was designed to make portal writing drawings, and I'm required to say this is from daysoftheyear.com, I guess, otherwise this is plagiarism. I'm quoting. This is a quote. I mean, what they're roughly saying is, we started off with, rocks, and we wrote on the rocks, we drew some pigeons on it, and went, pigeon. And then, like, that's the first story would have been, like, I guess, clay tablets with the Egyptians and people doing the things, and they went, whoa, this story is so deep. And then they got a heap of them and stacked them up and put a little spine on them, and they went, so I complained about having a heavy book now, but imagine having to carry around 12 stone tablets that you have to read.
Yeah,
you can only take the chapter for that day with you on any given day in your I don't know, satchel, whatever you did back in the day. I assume like ancient Egyptians walking around to the stores, they took their clay tablet with their book, so they go and sit under a tree and then read their tablet on a nice day with a drink.
Is that some kind of deep reference to our previous episode?
It is now. Just these Egyptians, we just need to get back to simplicity. Maybe that's what we could do now. That's how we can get back to simplicity. Let's reinvigorate the stone tablet. I mean, I guess that's literally almost what a Kindle is, but better. But what if...
yes, the book of the future.
The book of the future. It's funny how the further you get into the future, the more things resemble the past, but just better. Like, this is what they originally envisioned. The guy who invented the book went, I hate that you have to turn it. I just wanted one thing that said all of it.
And then he died. But after 100 years of thinking that thought.
And then he died. But look at us now. He'd be like, hell yeah, Kindles. Look at this library ruining that's not what I wanted at all. So inefficient. Burn them down. Anyway, have you been reading any good books?
Well, I did have to prep a book to talk about for this because it is Book Lovers Day, and while I do love books, I don't read many. There is one in particular that I'm enjoying at the moment, which is a graphic novel. It's a story set in the realm of fantasy and adventure.
Ooh.
It's the Adventure Zone. It's the first graphic novel actually to ever become #1 in the New York Times trade fiction list recently.
Whoa.
It just came out of pre-order. Yeah, no, they've done really well. I'm only a few chapters in.
Are you reading it as a physical book, or are you reading it as a PDF?
It's a physical book, yeah. It's a little chunky 256-page graphic novel.
That's a big boy.
It's a large boy. It's very good. And
is that the whole Adventure Zone?
No, not at all.
Okay. How many of the Adventure Zone is it?
There will be probably maybe 6 or 7 more of these, I think.
Does it include their asides? Like, it has the in-story stuff, but then it steps out. Like, it has the normal frames of within the story, but then outside of the frames, it's got them going, what about this? Talking about, like, the meta stuff, but included within the comic, but outside of the frames?
That's something that I really like about it, which is I'm pretty much halfway through listening to the whole of the Adventure Zone again as the podcast, but the comic artist, Carrie Peach, did the adaptation to comic, and everyone sort of worked on getting the script into comic form and sort of balancing. The story is called Balance. Balancing the meta moments and the in-jokes and the random stuff like that with the story. And I think they've done a really good job of it. Like, they'll still have, like, sort of meta jokes coming from the characters, but then also they have Griffin saying things. He pops up as the actual DM in the frames of the comic.
Oh, that's cool. It's like Harmon Quest, but like I love that. I love that as a thing in animated and visualized D&D stories and stuff like that. It works really well. I don't know why I find it so charming, but it is.
But yeah, if you don't know what the Adventure Zone is, it's like a fantasy adventure story that was created from these brothers and their dad playing D&D, and it just turned into this giant, long, amazing story. And it's one that I think, like, if you follow it through to the end, you'll never stop, like, re-listening to it, ever, because you just keep going around. And I think they're most likely going to do all the arcs as comics now. Well,
considering they did so well, like, how could they not? Like, that's great. It's good that it did so well. For something relatively indie, I guess?
Yeah, no, it is. I don't know how big it is fairly indie. Like, the McElroy brothers have been slowly, like, rising in, what's the word?
Fame?
Maybe.
Rising in popularity, prominence. I have such a, like, edgewise view of all, because, like, I've listened to a little bit of Adventure Zone and a little bit of Mabim Bam, but then occasionally I'll be on YouTube, and then, like, I see their animatics or something like that, and then I'll see Monster Factory, which is another one of their things. That's all great. They generate a lot of content. But yeah, this book, so you can just sort of get it, I imagine, off of Amazon? Maybe? How'd you get it? Did you buy it in a physical bookstore, or is it online, or?
So it was a pre-order, and then it also came to Amazon eventually. So mine just came through the mail. But now it's in a bunch of bookstores, and they're all sold out. And there's all waiting lists for people trying to get it. But yeah, no, they've just been rising in popularity, I think, with everything they've been doing, the McElroy brothers. And it's just really good. It's a great story, and I love it.
How old is the Adventure Zone?
The Adventure Zone is 4 years old. It actually turns 4 to the day on August 18th.
Nice.
And yeah, that's pretty much all I can really say about that. If you've never heard of the Adventure Zone, I'd recommend going on YouTube, looking up the Adventure Zone animated, and find just some amazing fan art videos of some of the funniest moments. But also, like, that doesn't really touch on the heartfelt sort of things and the weight of a lot of the stuff that happens in it. And it's really hard to sort of share that without having someone listen to the entire thing, because it's, like, so built up in, like, the story and, like, spoilers and things like that.
So definitely check it out. Hop on a podcatcher and catch that pod, The Adventure Zone.
Yeah, this little small podcast called The Adventure Zone, I think it's by Clint McElroy?
One of those McElroys. I got confused the other day. I heard that movie. I was listening to something the other day, and they were talking about Split and how it has James McAvoy in it. And, like, I misheard it as McElroy. I went, they're in movies? They're actors?
Well, they are going to be in Trolls 2.
Oh, really?
Well, that's their project, which is called The McElroy Brothers Will Be in Trolls 2.
Oh, that's what they're trying to do.
No, they will be.
Are they, like, confirmed?
Well, all I know is that the McElroy brothers will be in Trolls 2. That's all.
Okay. So I mean, in voice acting, you'd think it would make sense that popular podcast people would eventually, their voices would become very marketable and make it into movies and stuff like that. Like, I mean, Mark Hamill, his second career was just voicing villains in movies, which I think is quite funny.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't do anything like that anyone would be aware of anyway.
Not that he was famous for being a podcast host. Anyway, I don't know why that was I just think that's interesting. I don't know.
I love Mark Hamill's podcast, Luke versus the thousands of angry fans who are shitty about women. Well, that's his Twitter actually.
Oh, good old Twitter, full of all the happiest people.
Anyway, have you been reading anything?
Oh yeah, like I read the contents of a drink earlier. It was, as usual, had lots of sugar. They always do, even water. Nothing particularly I'd recommend though.
What was the drink? Water and sugar?
Yep.
Are you the cockroach man from Men in Black?
Sugar water.
Sugar in water.
Some delicious sugar water. That's the brand. It says delicious sugar water on it. And I was
okay, look, let's go find you something good to read in the ad zone.
I was like, delicious sugar. I don't believe this. What it says is on the bottle is what it's actually inside. I gotta check the details. And of course, it was stevia. It was a ripoff. It wasn't real sugar.
This is useless information.
Let's go to the ad zone. Are you a medieval noble?
I am!
Are you feeling out of touch with your friends and loved ones?
Not anymore!
Not with the pocket scroll?
I like this pictograph of this dog.
We need to explain the pocket scroll before.
Jabembo! What's a good medieval name?
Jabembo. Like for a person?
Yes.
Or just a word, like Debembo.
No, a person. Fallen? No.
Falador?
Yeah, that's Fallen.
Let's just use RuneScape net words.
Falador, send word to my uncle that I liked this picture.
We need to explain the pocket scroll first, what it is.
Do you need a place to voice your opinion? Just write your message in the bottom and pass it along to your friend.
Varrock, take this to my niece. Show her this drawing of this non-animated sequential picture of Beyonce reacting to this local news.
Reconnect with your friends.
Dugni, where is my friends list? Show it to me. My son is still not on this. Go get his signature. Go get him to add his name to my list.
Add my son to this list. And when you're ready, add it to the public ledger for everyone to read. Pocket Scrolls, the latest in knowledge technology. All right, we're back.
But yeah, like I haven't been like actively reading any books lately, but I have been listening to some. Like I mean, like I always listen to something off Audible. I was going to say Audacity then, off Audible. And like I've got so many books in here, but I've read like a third of each. And I go and then it's the end of the month, and then I get another book, and I go ooh. Like, I've got so many that I haven't even listened to any, like Gerald's Game by Stephen King. The only things I've really finished are, like, short story-based things where I can listen to it, where I can treat it more like a podcast. I've listened to those. So, like, autobiographies by comedians, like Norse mythology by Neil Gaiman, stuff like that.
Okay. I think it's time to reintroduce a segment that one of our classic bits, and just sort of bring it back. Bring back the conversation to the public domain.
There's been developments.
Has there been developments?
I think there has been.
Okay. So, I think in like our first few episodes we did of this show, we argued a lot about whether you can read an audiobook.
It's something that haunts the mind of
anyone who's ever talked to me, yes.
Anyone who's ever listened to this book has at some point had to argue about this. Because you've listened to a book and you've went to someone. You've listened to something spicy and you want to communicate it to someone and you go, I read this. I read a book, and you have to make that decision early in this, like, and then stick with it.
Yeah.
My approach has just been each time start this discussion each time I mention that I've listened to / read a book that I got off Audible.
Yeah, an audiobook in particular. Yeah. This came up in my mind the first time it came up, because I had just read World War Z while driving for like 8 hours.
I mean, you listened to it.
I read it while I was driving. I was listening to some amazing voice actors read me the book and through their voices, I did read that book.
Yeah. And someone, it led to an argument about it or something?
I think it just led to me thinking about it, to be honest, probably.
I think I think my conclusion still is that you can very rightfully say, like, I reckon it's still you read the book. It is reading, but it depends who you're talking to. To simplify it, it's easier to just say, I experienced the book. I experienced a good book the other day. Because then you can use that for any type of, whether you're reading it or listening to it, and it just works.
Yeah, but you can't, though. You can't say you did that.
I experienced a good graphic novel.
I would say I experienced The Adventure Zone.
So I guess experience requires you to have like really enjoyed it, I guess. You can't just...
Yeah, really been enjoyed or affected by it, yeah.
You don't experience the contents of a pasta packet.
Do you?
Well, do you? If you enjoy the pasta afterwards.
Is that like reading about a place and then going to it? Is that what it's like to read the ingredients of a pasta packet and then eat it?
Yeah, I guess. It's kind of like traveling. It's like a brochure. Like,
Although I guess in that case you would have the pasta packet and be like, not today, but one day.
You put it back in the cupboard or back on the shelf at the supermarket. But yeah, so what are your concerns with it?
Well, I don't have any concerns. I am always concerned because I haven't read one in a long time. I haven't had an audiobook in a while, so it hasn't come up. But just everyone understands like the anxiety of being like, I read this book, and then wait a second, they're going to think that I actually read the book.
Well, everyone who's listened to a reading of a book, everyone who's read a book via their ears, man, I wonder how long before we're using other senses to read books. Like, when are we getting like tactile? Like, we got audiobooks. We got vision books. When smell books? A good old smell book?
No thanks.
I don't want to smell a book though. Although books do smell nice, but I don't want to smell a whole story. It sounds like a bit harrowing, especially if it's a horror. I don't know. It's probably going to smell gross. But like a I was going to say like a touch book, but I guess that's Braille.
Yeah, that's closer to Braille, but more like, I don't know. Movies are a visionary, like a vision sort of experience that's very different to reading something. Because it's kind of a sensory thing, the way that they shoot things, the way that lights shine lights on things to attract your attention and things like that. You could do something like that with your senses. Yeah. It just has to be better than Shrek 5D.
Well, I mean, give it time, and I'm sure we'll be able to record dreams in some form, and we just like, that'll be a career you can have. I'm a dreamer. I literally dream up rad stories, and then other people transmit them into the heads of other people.
Okay, but if you have one of the Audible dreams, one of the dreams that Audible is starting to release, do you get to say that you dreamt it?
Do you say I had a dream?
Well, I mean, like if let's say we can transfer dreams to people, you can experience one like a movie, and you go and you have that. Do you get to say I had a good dream? Because you didn't. It was someone else's.
Ooh, I suppose that's like it's the equivalent of saying I wrote a good book. Like, I don't think you can say that. I think there has to be a different type of wording, which I think might be like I was party to a dream. I saw a dream. I slept a dream. I experienced a dream the other day.
Maybe.
Problem with dreams would be, though, I feel, like a flaw in this technology I've right now introduced, which I may have introduced in the past, because this is actually one of my recurring, like...
dreams.
Woo! I love the idea of this. The mind's a messy place. And generally, each time you, like, even just accessing your own memories, each time you access it, they change. And they get messed up. They go crazy. So there'd be the original dream guy or gal who dreamed up the dream and then transmitted the dream out to the public. But each individual dreamer, much like a book, the dream would be a little different. And unlike with a book where people sort of agree to disagree on the little details like that, with a dream, it's a lot more like, oh no, I definitely saw in my mind's eye that thing. And like whole things would be sort of disordered, because when you're in a dream, you're not always one character. Things get all flippity-dude. Your brain's not quite there. It depends if you have to sleep while you're experiencing a dream.
It really depends whether it is a movie from a dream or if it's a video game from a dream, essentially. Like, is it your experience, what they went through, or is it you're in this space that they were in and you can just like run to the edge and bump into the side of the map and go like hand a banana to an NPC for no reason?
Just immediately try to break it.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like any dream, that would be like an extra thing they can add to it, like give you like control, like maybe, and like porting it to games would be so much easier. It's just like, but then you'd probably need like a host brain to enter, more like Inception.
You would need like some sort of Sega Dreamcast.
Yeah, if only we had that. Maybe someday. We're not there yet. The first dream that someone dreams out is like Sonic.
No, that's the worst. They can't do that. Can you imagine though if it was like we get this sort of technology where you can integrate minds into things. There's obviously going to be some horrible MMO aspect to it, and you'll end up like just running around with like 100 Sonics doing a meme at you.
That sounds great. Like
you can low key get that experience on VR chat if you want that.
I guess there are sort of limitations to that. That said, there aren't really when you look at or participate in VR chat. It's just madness. I remember I was watching some video the other day, and I love the concept of it. Like one character, like the person on this is on YouTube. I haven't actually played VR chat. I only watched it, and I can't remember the YouTuber unfortunately, so I can't plug them. But spicy bit of content. They walked up to someone. They were quite a short character. Looked up at them. And then saw their face through their hair, and they had this like Sonic face on a human, and it's like, and they went, "Oh God!" And then they turned around, and they had a normal face on the other, like the exact same body on the other side of the character's body, and they had the normal face there. And I was like, "Oh, sorry."
Oh God!
I love that concept. That'd be my avatar.
Yeah, we should play that
soon. We shall. I wish VR wasn't expensive. I can't wait till it's just like something you can just grab and have, and it's easy.
Oh, it's pretty close though.
It's getting better, but it's still like near $1,000.
Yeah,
it's a pricey, spicy thing. I mean, you can get like the cardboard units and then put them on your phone. I can't because I'm in the mistake of not getting a gyroscope phone, so I can passively watch stuff through goggles. That's my VR that I can get out of my phone. Yay!
But yeah, book lovers love VR. Yeah, if that's one thing we've learned today. Essentially, people who love books create their own virtual reality by reading them, essentially.
Yeah. Man, books are really cool, aren't they? Like, it's just a heap of insane squiggles on a page, and then that can induce hallucinations that as complex as, like Lord of the Rings. And then they make movies out of it with way more complex technology.
I know.
And it doesn't actually equate to the squiggles on the page that we hallucinate on our own.
And then they make a book about, like, out of the movie with pictures of what's happening in the movie. And that doesn't equate to the movie. Can you imagine if someone did a thing where they did made a movie from a book and then made the book of the movie like they do for teenagers to read when they can't watch the movie. And then they made the movie from that book. And just kept like doing it until it degrades so much and see what happens.
It's just a lossy format. It just keeps getting worse and worse. You're converting between like bad formats.
Yeah, the book of the movie is the MP3 of the original book.
But you could like throw a game in there somewhere too. Like there was something. Was it Mortal Kombat? There was... So with Mortal Kombat, like they had this thing where it was Mortal Kombat and they made a game, and then they made Mortal Kombat the movie.
Yeah. They do that.
That's great. It's ridiculous.
It's wild. Yeah, like they do Lord of the Rings, the movie of the book, and then they do Lord of the Rings, the game of the movie. And then they probably do Lord of the Rings, the manual for the game.
The manual, the movie. I mean, that's the similarity or whatever, I guess. Like, that's like the behind the scenes commentary of the Lord of the Rings, essentially, that they published into a book.
Yeah. Okay. We're done here. Bye.
I feel there was another point. There was another point there somewhere. Oh, well. It's gone.
So I think that's going to do it for us for this episode. I think we covered enough things about books and also enough things of our own.
It's a good day for books. You should celebrate today. Go get a book. Love it. Spend some time with it. It's probably lonely. It's probably been a while. I mean those books, It'd be kind of like sitting up in a folded position all the time. I imagine it feels real good for the book when you sort of open it, like it's like a good old stretch. I bet they love that. Pick up your old favorite book and just reread it.
Oh, quick note from daysoftheegg.com. If you want to get into books, apparently many librarians will gladly help you find a title to read, giving a brief explanation on what it is if they've read it, or giving it a little flip and reading about it quickly in the synopsis for you. So just, yeah, if you're not sure how to get into books, just go to your local library and just go really focus on that librarian. They have all the information you need. They will help you. It might look like they're trying to read their own book, but that's really just they're kind of waiting for someone else to just come up and just ask them some questions and talk to them for half an hour.
They love it.
I have a librarian friend. They're going to hate this.
Does that happen? Do people talk to the librarian?
Actually, I don't think they're librarian. I think they're more just library staff. But yeah, I'm pretty sure people talk to everyone all the time.
But I go into a library to don't look at me. I'm hiding. I guess when you work there, you're fair game. People are going to go, oh, look at this book. Have you heard of this book?
Yeah, so on another note, if you work in a library, you should probably be ready to give a brief explanation on every book you've ever read. And be prepared to pick up a book and just read it quickly. Read maybe a chapter or so to someone who's interested in borrowing it for free.
It's kind of like EB Games. You need to, if not read every book in your library, you need to have at least skimmed reviews or the Wikipedia summary of that book. I remember talking to some guy, the seller guy at EB Games, and I was talking about this game.
Yeah.
And he said something which was directly, he described some game directly as how I had just read it from the review a couple of minutes prior before walking into the store. And I was like, ooh, I caught you. You haven't played this game. I know what you're up to. At least use the second article or something.
It's ridiculous.
That's what you need to do as a librarian. Get on top of it.
Yeah.
I'm berating him, but actually that's good. That's good work.
All right. Thanks for listening to the But Yeah podcast. You can tweet us at ButYeahPod. I don't know why you would want to. No one ever has. Occasionally tweet other podcasts and have good fun conversations. If you want to join in on that, come and hang out.
Or gram us on the gram, the Instagram. Instantly gram us on the same thing, ButYeahPod.
How do you Instagram someone?
Oh, they have messages.
I guess.
Comment on our things.
Come message us on Instagram.
Give us little hearts on our pictures that we shared, I guess. Comment on them.
You could give us 5 stars on iTunes, but I've kind of given up on ever mentioning that because it seems pointless.
No, do it. Give us 5 stars. In return, we will, I don't know, maybe read it out. We have a few. Maybe we could read them out.
Actually, yeah. If you do that, we will read them out.
Give us 5 stars and plug your shit, and we'll share it with the world.
You can find my other podcast, One Letter Better, which is at OLB Pod on Twitter, or One Letter Better on just everywhere, all the apps, every single one. Even Audible. No, it's not actually in there. It's not a book. It's more of a comedy experience.
Not yet.
Not yet, but soon there'll be the graphic novel of One Letter Better.
One Letter Better, the graphic novel, the audiobook.
Yeah. Go listen to that. It's got a bunch of great international guests. They make it just the best. And that's really fun to do.
Thanks for listening. We love you. Have a wonderful, wonderful day and or night or drive or miscellaneous time frame following this.
Get booked.
That was very hard to do, but it was very good, I think.
We're done. All right, let's go.
That was hard earned, but I feel that was actually better than a lot of them. I really liked that.